Perfect. So welcome again. My name is Marcella Isuster. I am a liaison librarian here at the McGill Libraries, and I'm also the coordinator of the Digital Scholarship Hub. Today, we are going to be talking about Graph Commons, which is a tool to create network maps in a way. It's a tool that it has a free version. We're going to use a free version today. It has also a paid version depending on what you need. I would say that the main difference between the paid and the free version is that whenever you do something Graph Commons with the free version, your graphs are public, which is not a huge deal because someone would have to know about them and look for them, but just something to know. And then they have a paid version, and then you can make your graphics, your maps. You can make them private, and you can actually have more nodes and more maps and things like that. It all depends on what you need. However, this is something I had been looking for a long time, and I was very happy to find it. Just because personally, like, it was something that I wanted to do, and I couldn't find a tool that would do it in the way that I wanted it to do it. So I'm just going to put the URL in the chat as well, just so that everyone can have it if you maybe logged in a little bit later or a little bit after I put it in the chat. If you are watching this recording, I'll try to put it in the notes or in the information for the video. Also, if you are watching this live, I have set the captions on. If they bother you, if you find them distracting, you can always sort of like hide them. You just toggle to the bar at the bottom of your screen, and then you should be able to turn them off. So just know that that is there for you should you not want to see them. Perfect. Okay, so we are going to get started. And I just realized that I'm maybe not recording. So apologies for that. Oh yes, I know I am recording. Perfect. Never mind. So let's get started. We're gonna head all together to Graph Commons. As I said, if you, I just put the link in the chat, and we're gonna get started. I have an account already. If you don't have an account, all you need to do is just click on sign up. And then you have a few options. I personally have a Google account that I use for these kinds of tools. So I'm just going to go and sign up with Google. You can also use your own Google email. It's fairly safe. You don't really get emails from them or anything like that. You can also do it with Facebook or with your email address. I like doing it with Google because it's an easy, quick way of doing it, but everyone can do whatever they prefer. And you're just going to click on sign up with Google or sign up in whichever way, and you're going to sign up. I'm going to give you like a few moments to do that, and I'll go ahead and sign in myself because I already have an account with them. Perfect. So I'm just going to sign in, and I'm going to sign in with Google. Just wait, I sign in. And ideally, it will get you to something that looks like this. It might not. I have to be honest that when I was prepping for today, I couldn't remember exactly what it looked like when you don't have an account and it's your first time. So if it doesn't take you to something that looks like this, although yours would probably be empty because you wouldn't have your graphs, it's totally fine. If you click on sort of like over here where it's going to be like your initial, if you click on it, it should take you to your page. So just know that. In our case, we're here. So I'm going to give you, it's going to take a few minutes to do it. And then maybe you want to let me know when you are done in some kind of way. Or if you're not doing it and just following along, then you can just let me know as well, just so that I can know that you are perfect. I see some people that are already there. Perfect. Okay. Lovely. So some of you have already joined me here. If not, that's fine. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what a graph looks like and a little bit of what you can do with it. And then we're going to go ahead and actually start creating things. So if you're still creating your graph, no problem. We will just, I'm just going to show you what it looks like right now so you can take the time to do it. So not your graph, your account. So if you logged in a little bit early, you might have noticed I had some Spanish songs playing. Spanish is my first language. And I realized moments ago, or a couple, maybe last year, that the new thing in Spanish music, at least in popular music, is to have all these collaborations. And I thought it was really funny how like all these artists were sort of connected to each other. How all this, little things were connected to each other. So I thought, oh, like that's really cute. And let's start following. And I wanted to find a tool that would allow me to do that. And I couldn't find anything until I found Graph Commons. Not that I wasn't looking for these. It was just two things that were in my head. And then I found Graph Commons and it was like, oh, I could use it for this. So what I did was I started creating this graph with all these different singers and all these different songs and like how they all connected to each other. And I created this graph over here. I'm just going to close this so I can see it bigger. So the graph is dynamic, which means that I can move it around. I can play around with it. People can play around with it if you're looking at it, if you are seeing it. And then you're going to see that I have like my nodes have different colors. And that is because I have made the nodes so that they, you can't see it here because it's really tiny. But actually, I'll show you something else about them, which is you can add a picture to your node and you can add more information. And then you have all their connections over here. But if you're going to notice that all my nodes are different colors, or there are different colors of nodes. And that is because you can have a node category. So a node is each circle that we see, and we can put them in different categories. So in my case, for example, I did it for what country they're from. So these sort of like light teal is Colombia, and then green is Argentina, and then red is Spain. I think this gray is Puerto Rico, and then I might have the pink, I think is US. And technically, yes, Puerto Rico is part of the US, but for the sake of this analysis, we're going to keep them separate. So I'm able to create my nodes. Now, right now, I made all my lines. So they're called edges. The lines that join the nodes are called edges. And I have made them all the same color because it works for me. But you can also, you can create different types of edges. And then we're going to do, when we create actually one, we'll show you what it looks like. But you can create different types of edges. And then those will have different colors. For me, for today, this worked. And then I can start seeing some things like, for example, like some of them look thicker than others, and it's because we have more than one line joining them. So for example, over here, I have 3 different lines, and over here, I have 3 different lines as well. And so this dude has created 3 songs with this person and with this person, and it happens that they have, like, he has dated both of them, so it makes sense that they would have more collaborations, for example. And I don't know, Ricky Martin and Maluma, they seem to be really good friends, I guess. I don't know. But that's pretty much what we can do. Whenever we click on something, you can add more information. Now, you'll notice that my picture is all a bit weird, and that is because I just chose the first picture I found on Wikipedia, just for expediency. So you probably want to choose a picture that's more horizontal than vertical, which kind of goes against what like the young people are doing today. But for the sake of this, you probably want a picture that's more horizontal. So once I realized that, let's see if I can find Ricky Martin, which I have somewhere. And actually, I chose a picture, like I went on the Wikipedia page and I chose a picture that was more horizontal than vertical. But this is what you can do. You can create it. We're going to go ahead and start creating things. So if you want to go, we're going to go back to my thing over here. And then we can go to create graph. So if you're in the page that you were, like you will see like a create graph. If not, you can just go, if you go to your initial and then you click on it, you can just create graph. And we have our sort of like blank canvas to start working. We're going to do this in 2 stages. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sort of create some things manually. And then I'm going to show you how to add things as a spreadsheet, which saves you a ton of time. And it works really, really well. So, but we're going to start with sort of like the harder way of doing it. And then we're going to go with the easier way of doing it. So it's pretty intuitive in the way it works. If we look here on the left-hand side, we're going to see that we have a couple of buttons. We have add, we have connect, and then this, once we start creating things, we'll look at what these 2 are, and then we're going to look at this as well in a little bit. So let's get started. We have our blank canvas. I'm going to add our first node. And let's say I'm interested in collaborations between scholars, just to give you an idea. Now, there are other tools that also do this, but just especially for like scholars and works, but just because it's an easy way for us to do this. So I'm going to start out my first node. And all I'm going to do is I click on the add node, like the add button over here. And I'm going to just choose where I'm going to put it in my space and just click on it. And then it's going to ask me to first choose a node type and then to name it. So today I'm going to do, I'm going to have 2 types of nodes, at least for now. And one is going to be person, and another one is going to, my other type of node is going to be institution. So I'm going to start with myself. I'm just going to do one where like I'm a person. And I'm just going to add my name. Sorry. This is not what I want to do. I'm actually going to add the type of node and just create type person. I can choose the color of my node. You might care about this, you might not care about this, but you can choose the color should you want to. And then I'm going to do my own name. Perfect. And all I'm going to do is just click on add, and I have my first node. Should I want to edit this and add more, if I come here and I click on edit, I can add a description, I can add a reference, I can add a picture of myself. So to add pictures, you have 2 different ways of doing it. You can either upload an image or you can do an image URL, which is actually what I did for like the one that I show you about the songs. I just went to Wikicommons and just got the URL for all those pictures because they were already there. If you're working on like a picture that's just anywhere online and you're using Chrome, if you right click, it will be copy image address. I'm sure that Firefox and Safari and Edge have a different sort of like, they call it something different, but they all have the option. That being said, whenever we're doing these kinds of things, we want to choose images that are going to be stable. So something like Wikicommons is very stable. Something like Flickr is semi-stable, I would say too, but we don't want to just get pages from like anywhere because they might disappear. But all this to say that we could just add more information about it. I'm not going to do it today, and then I'm just going to click on save node, and I have my first node. I'm going to add a second node so that we have something to work with. I'm going to add a second node here, and this node will not be a person, this will be institution. And I'm going to create the type of node, and I'm going to write McGill because that's where I work. And click add. So far so good. We have our 2 nodes. We are going to connect those nodes now. So instead of clicking here on add, I'm going to click on the one that's below that it says connect. And then I'm going to choose the 2 things that I'm going to connect. Now, I only have 2 right now. If I had more, it might be more complicated, but I'm just going to choose the 2 things I'm going to connect. And then I'm going to describe the type of relationship. So I'm going to say employee. Just click on it. And then, first of all, I can choose the color, but then you're also going to notice that it says directed. And the difference between directed and not directed is basically when we do it directed, it has an arrow, sort of like an arrow going from one place to another. It's unidirectional. Whereas if we don't do it directed, it's just a line and it's bidirectional. So when would we might think about using this? For example, if I was doing something about citations are always unidirectional because we cannot cite things that are in the future. So a paper can only cite things that are in the past, but so you cannot have two papers citing each other. Whereas, I don't know, like the thing about the songs, they're unidirectional, they're bidirectional because you have two people who are singing the same song and they are singing it at the same time and they're collaborating with each other. So for this one, I'm going to do directed because I am an employee of this institution. So I can also choose to like toggle the direction. So if I click on it, I go either McGill to me or me to McGill. I'm going to do it me to McGill. And then I'm just going to click on add. And we have our first edge. Now, let's say I had a collaborator at another institution. So let's add that person. So I'm going to add first my other person. So I'm going to click on add again. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to choose the type of node that I have. So it's going to be a person, and I don't know, I'm going to do Jane Smith. Click on add. Perfect. And let's say Jane works at University of British Columbia. And I'm just going to click on add again. Perfect. We're going to join Jane and UBC. Sorry, it's being annoying today. There we go. So I have joined them. It's employee Jane to British Columbia. Perfect. And then we're going to join Jane and myself because we are collaborators. So again, I'm just going to do a node over here. And I'm just going to do and for this one, I am not going to do directed because we are like both collaborating with each other. And I'm just going to click on add. And I will have added my relationship. So a couple of things to know. Number one is that when I, sorry, wait a minute, there we go. Let's come back here. When I sort of hover over a node, it's going to show me its relationships. And each, like, it's going to show me the type of edge, the type of relationship between the two different things. In this case, for example, showing me that Jane is an employee of University of British Columbia, but then she is also a collaborator to me. One thing to know, and I learned this the hard way, and it's the reason that all my edges in my other, in the example I showed you, they're all gray, is because I changed the color, is because it would like the colors repeat only when you have a relationship between the same type of nodes, even if they have the same. So I can't show you from here. Okay, let's say if I created a third type of node, and then it was also like I wanted it to be a collaborator to Jane, because it's a different type of node, the color, even though I can call it collaborator too, the color of the line would be different. It happened to me with the songs. Let me just save. I'll go back and then I'll come back to this one just so that you want to save a lot because like it does not automatically save. I'm just going to say that and I'll repeat it. But I'm just going to go to one of like the one with the songs and I'll explain what I mean. Okay, so let's choose. Let me choose a song that I know has 3 people. Okay, so this guy, Luis Fonsi, he has a song where he collaborated with Sebastian Yatra and with Nicky Jam. Now you can see that Luis Fonsi and Nicky Jam, they're both in Puerto Rico, so those 2 nodes are the same category. Sebastian Yatra, he's Colombian, so these 2 nodes are different categories. What happened was that even though I was calling the edges and I was putting them as the same category, they were showing up as different nodes because they were between 2 different categories of nodes. So just something to pay attention to. Not the end of the world, but just something to pay attention to. I'm just going to go back to where we were before. Perfect. Okay, so coming back to this, we have created our relationship. Lovely. You can keep creating. It doesn't matter where you put things. You can always move them around. It doesn't really matter. You can play around with it. It's all very editable. Now, let's imagine that we had continued this. I'm going to show you a few more things that you can do. If you need to delete a node, then you just go to delete, and then you just choose to delete. Just keep in mind that if you delete it, everything else will be deleted as well. Okay, so I'm going to, once again, leave here and go to the other one, just because I'm going to show you, because like I have more things in there. So to give you a better idea, but you could just so you know. Okay, I'm going to go to edit over here. Now, we did our nodes and we created our stuff. Let's look at some of the other options that you have. And you could like on your own, like I created this all manually. I didn't upload anything. You created everything manually. So you can do it. It just depends on how big your project is. But a couple of things I want to show you. Number one is here, if you click on Carto, which is the cartography of your graph, you're going to see, you can choose the background color. I like it white, but you can choose whatever color you want. And then you have, oh, I thought I had deleted this. You have your different types of nodes, and then you can change the colors if you want. You can choose how you want it sized. Usually the way it is right now is that the more edges something has, the bigger it's going to show, but it doesn't have to be that way. Just know that you can play around with it, and you can label them the way you want. And then it's going to show you all your types of edges. So for example, when I did it, all of these were different colors, and then I changed them manually to have the all the same color. You can change it to be directed. So you can just work with this. And this has to do more with the way your map looks. And then if you go to data, what you see is actually like the spreadsheets of your data. So for example, it's going to show me all my nodes. You're going to see that here with the image. I actually added the image and descriptions. I didn't add them from what I showed you, just like going like this and edit, but I actually added everything on the spreadsheet. I just opened this and just added everything, sort of like I copy pasted it from Wikipedia from here. But I just did it from this part and not necessarily for that, but just know that like you have 2 points of entry. You just edit something and go here and edit it. Or in my case, I just went to data and work with the spreadsheet and just added things to the spreadsheet. The only sort of difference is that if you want to add an image that you want to upload, then you want to do it from here, from the edit. Because here you can only put the URL. That's the only difference. And then you can also see for your edges and the weight of your edges. You can see the different nodes and the people who are under those nodes. So you can play your data in different ways, which is pretty good. And I find it very useful. Now, we're going to go and export, we're going to go and import our, I'll show you how to import stuff in a second, but just so you know, you can also export your data. And then if we're going to click on it, oh, let's just save my data. And then I'm going to go to export. It offers a few different ways for me to export it. Funnily enough, there's no like PDF or not sort of PDF, but like there's no JPEG or PNG way of doing it, which is like, huh, interesting. But you can download the data as an Excel file if you want. And then you can open it in Excel or Google Sheets. And there are a few other ways in which you can do it. But just know that this is a way to export information if you want to. Now I'm going to go back to our other one just to show you how we would upload a spreadsheet. Because yes, this is fine if you don't have that many things, but if you do, that's an issue. So to import your data, you're going to click here on the left-hand side. I'm going to click on import. And then there's a few ways of doing it. My favorite way is to do it with Google Sheets. And the reason why I personally like it, and just so you know, you have different ways, is because it wants you to use a Google Sheets template. So I'm just going to click on it, and then it's going to ask me to make a copy. And as you can see, it will give you like, I really like that you have a really good template. and then you just fill out the template with the things you need. And then you can go from there. You don't really need to do much more work than that. You just enter everything manually, and then it will do its magic. So that's why I personally really like it. And then all you need to do is you just copy the URL in here and just click on import, and that's it. I'm not going to do it here because it's going to ruin my thing. I'm going to do it in the other one that we were working with. There we go. I'm just going to add it here. So import, and then you go to the Google template, and it will do it. I think like I have like another one, so I'm just going to use whatever I already did, just for the sake of time. But I'm just going to show you what happens, and it's probably also about the songs, but it's okay for us today. I'm going to click on import, and then it shows you the people that you have and the nodes. So it really shows you everything that you will have. You can choose what you want. So this I don't have, and this I don't have, and this I don't think I have. This I don't want, and then I have my songs. Let's say I have this, and I just click on import. You can change the colors, and then it will create things. I guess that when I did this, I didn't stipulate like the relationships with people, but it will just upload them. If you do it, I will just do it with another one just to show you like if you use their template and the way their template works. Create graph. There we go. Import. I go with this one, which is the one that they created. And then you click on import. Oh, sorry, you have to make it public. That's the one thing I forgot. So it's you have to go to share, and then make it to anyone with the link. Done. And now we copy and paste it, and then it's going to show up everything, and it's going to create the graph for us. So 2 different ways of doing this, a little bit easier, depending on what you want and depending how you're creating it. Personally, I really like the Google Sheets option just because it gives you the template, and that just makes it easier. And you know it's going to work because you know the template works. So I find that a little bit easier, but you can also, if you prefer to work with a spreadsheet, you can also just open the template and just copy the different things to put on an Excel spreadsheet, and it'll work for you as well. So this is how you create things. Let's save everything. How do we share this? Because it's all fun and games until we actually have to share it. So there is a couple of ways of sharing this. The first one, and oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay. We click on share. We can add more people. So if you have more than one person working on it, we can add more people just by their email address, and we can either add them as an admin, an editor, or a viewer. So we can share things. We can also copy a link, and then people will be able to, we can just share the link with anyone we want. Unfortunately, there's no sort of, there's no embed code. It will not give you an embed code. You can create your own embed code if you know how to create one. Basically, all you would need to do is just take an embed code from somewhere else, let's say YouTube, and then you just change the URL. So it's not the end of the world, but if you wanted to embed it somewhere else, you would have to create that code yourself, as opposed to other tools that will give you that embed code. Here, you would have to link to it or create that embed code yourself. It's not the end of the world. It's fairly easy to do, but just you have to know a little bit of HTML in order to do it. Are there any questions? Very important to remember, for everything you do, you want to save it. If you don't save it, you will lose it. It has happened to me. So you want to save as you go, because it does not automatically save. Any questions? Okay, awesome. If you have any questions, I'll just put my email in the chat, so you can always just reach out to me and ask any questions that you may have. Perfect. And if you, yeah, so thank you so much for coming. I'll hope to see you in another workshop soon. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you're in Montreal, enjoy the warm weather, because it's I don't know how long it's going to stay here. I'm going to be sending the video. I'm going to probably edit the video today, and I'm going to upload it to our YouTube channel, and I'll just send you the link once we are done with it. Okay. Also, once I have it up, I'll send you all of you the link. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you in another in another event. Bye all.